Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a high-tension, Hollywood-style tactical breakdown. We're going to deconstruct the absolute anatomy of a high-stakes Special Forces mission. Now, before a single helicopter even spins up, missions exactly like this are actually won and lost during intense strategic briefings, usually deep in classified underground command centers. We're going to trace that rigorous planning as it completely collides with reality, taking you step by step from the initial staging all the way through a heavily contested extraction. We'll see exactly how these elite operators navigate extreme environments, fortified enemy positions, and literally split-second life-or-death decisions.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Just picture open-door helicopters flying through a violent thunderstorm over a rocky, completely unforgiving, hostile coastline. The sheer danger of navigating blinding lightning strikes and torrential rain is, well, it's practically unimaginable for most of us. Here's a really fascinating technical reality. Pilots in these conditions have to constantly fight severe updrafts and downdrafts. We're talking about forces that can suddenly drop a 22,000-pound Black Hawk by hundreds of feet in a matter of seconds. But for these operators, this level of extreme environmental hazard isn't just an obstacle, it's actually a calculated, crucial part of their strategy.
So that brings us to Phase 1, the storm insertion. This is where operators use extreme, restrictive weather as their ultimate cover.
Now, what's really interesting about what we're seeing here is the sheer scale of those massive storm clouds and the driving rain. It perfectly illustrates the macro-level environmental threats right from the staging area. You might be wondering, why risk the lives of an elite team against Mother Nature before they even see the enemy? Well, the answer is simple and, honestly, a bit ruthless. Special operators actively use this extreme, highly restrictive weather to their advantage. As this Black Hawk lifts off, it's immediately swallowed by zero visibility conditions. A violent storm grounds conventional aircraft, completely blinds enemy sentries, and drowns out the deafening roar of incoming helicopter rotors. Before a single shot is even fired, the crew is already battling gravity in the sky just to gain the ultimate element of surprise.
Let's quickly break down the actual mechanics of this perilous insertion. It happens in 3 highly deliberate steps. Number 1, ground staging under the absolute cover of darkness. Number 2, the terrifying low-altitude, zero-visibility flight. And number 3, the precise target infiltration, where the bird has to hover just long enough for the operators to hop out onto hostile ground. Remember that underground command center we mentioned? The exact timing of these 3 steps was fiercely debated and finalized in that bunker hours ago. And now, that rigorous plan has to survive first contact with reality. The immense coordination required simply to reach the target alive is, frankly, staggering.
To really wrap our heads around the tension here, we have to understand the specific, lethal dangers of these zero-visibility flights. First off, pilots face severe spatial disorientation. This is a terrifying reality where your brain literally cannot tell up from down because you have absolutely no visual horizon. It's wild. Add to that the constant threat of sudden lightning strikes that could fry the aircraft's electronics in a flash, plus unpredictable violent crosswinds threatening to smash the helicopter into a mountainside. It really underscores the tension and highlights the absolute top-tier, expert piloting skills needed just to survive this phase.
Moving on to Phase 2, stealth infiltration. This is where the deafening roar of the helicopters fades and the atmosphere becomes quiet, methodical, and incredibly tense.
And this brilliantly illustrates that shift. Once boots hit the mud, we move from loud, mechanical violence to a profoundly tense ground environment, where literally a single snapped twig could compromise the whole shebang. Special operators move silently through a dark, dense, rain-soaked forest. Look at the glowing lenses of their night vision goggles and those highly modified suppressed rifles. Notice the lead operator's raised hands signaling a sudden halt. What's technically fascinating here is that heavy rain actually degrades thermal and infrared optics. It cools the environment and scatters light, adding massive real-world friction to the mission. Yet the lead operator reads the environment perfectly and stops the team instantly.
That raised hand brings us directly to the concept of tactical hand signals. These are silent visual communications used to issue commands, relay enemy positions, and coordinate complex movements without ever breaking stealth. Why are these an absolute necessity right now? Because in this phase, silence equals survival. Radio comms can easily be intercepted, and even whispering can be heard by enemy patrols. Taking a step back, this nonverbal communication and total team alignment represent the absolute ultimate form of teamwork under pressure. It's vital to maintaining the element of complete surprise deep in enemy territory.
And this right here is what they are creeping toward, the objective.
It's a highly fortified compound nestled in some incredibly harsh mountainous terrain. Just imagine being in that pitch-black tree line, looking through the pouring rain at this deeply entrenched target. You're calculating the exact seconds between the armed guards patrolling the muddy courtyard. You're timing the sweeping rhythm of that glaring, massive spotlight from the guard tower and tracking the security cameras blanketing the razor wire perimeter. The contrast between our operators hiding in the dark forest and this fully illuminated fortress is just stark.
Which leads us to a massive tactical question. How exactly do a mere handful of operators completely bypass a fully illuminated, heavily guarded perimeter without getting torn to shreds? I mean, it seems impossible, right? Well, the answer is that they don't always bypass it quietly. Sometimes, when stealth has gotten them as close as physically possible, they have to instantly flip the switch from silent ghosts to an overwhelming force of destruction.
And that explosive shift kicks off Phase 3, Kinetic Assault. Let's move to this next scene and see exactly how this builds. Look at that incredible fireball and the flying debris. That sudden, violent flip of the switch completely shatters the quiet tension we just talked about. The element of surprise is spent, and the operation shifts into absolute hyperdrive. These operators aren't picking locks here. They've detonated a specialized explosive charge to blow a fortified door right off its hinges. The physics of an explosive breach are just incredible. The extreme overpressure of the blast acts as a weapon in itself, instantly deafening and stunning the enemy inside. The team pushes straight through that jagged flying debris, using that intense shock and awe to completely dominate those crucial, chaotic first seconds of the firefight.
It's honestly amazing to contrast these two extreme phases. In the stealth phase, they rely entirely on silent communication, the cover of darkness, and very slow, deliberate pacing. But the second that breach happens, they transition right into the kinetic phase, utilizing heavy explosives, rapid dominance, and thriving within incredibly loud, chaotic action. Why does this duality matter so much? Because this level of extreme adaptability, shifting from slow, deliberate planning to instant, high-speed execution, is the ultimate test of human flexibility. It's a masterclass in pivoting under extreme pressure within mere minutes of each other.
Now, once the objective is actually secured, getting out is often the hardest part. This captures an incredibly intense, mud-splattered extraction scene. Notice those bright red tracer rounds cutting through the rain, and the heavy smoke as the enemy returns fire. But you have to understand, this isn't just chaos, it's highly practiced discipline. The extraction bird is on the ground, and operators are rapidly boarding while simultaneously returning suppressive fire. And that suppressive fire isn't just random shooting, no way. It's a highly coordinated geometry problem designed to keep enemy heads down while teammates move. It requires absolute, cold discipline to prevent casualties at the very last second. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final, thought-provoking question. Look back at what we just covered. Rigorously planning in a classified underground command bunker, flying through a violent lightning storm, navigating blind through a pitch-black rainy forest, exploding through steel doors, and fighting off an entire compound just to escape. What kind of extreme precision, grueling training, and raw psychological endurance is required of these human beings to execute the impossible, survive that absolute chaos, and simply vanish back into the storm? It's truly something to marvel at, isn't it?